Welcome to my YouTube channel Bachelor and Master English. As usual, today I am talking about William Shakespeare's one of the most famous sonnets, that is sonnet number 18. The title of the sonnet is Shall I Compare Thee to a Summer's Day. So, in my today's discussion I will have the discussion regarding the paraphrase of the poem, summary of the poem, explanation of the poem, theme of this sonnet, structural analysis, word meanings including different terms here and phrases, symbolism, plus review. And I shall not be forgetting to tell you the summary of the poem in Nepali also. So, let us go with today's discussion. Before I begin, I would like to request you to subscribe my channel if you are new. If you like it very much, please share and make the room for others to enter. Okay. So, here is a poem. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? And the text is given here. Let me talk about the paraphrase of the poem. Shall I compare you to a day in the summer? The summer is very soft and mild in England. It is warm. They love it very much. You are more lovely than the summer, which is all too brief, too short. It lasts very few days here in England. Even in the summer, the sky is overcast, whereas everything in the world likes its beauty, either by chance or by the vagaries of nature. You possess an eternal summer. Your beauty cannot fade. Now that I have described your beauty in a love song here, that is sonnet, you have become timeless as time itself. Death cannot boast to possess you. So long as men can breathe or eyes can have the power to view and notice, so long will this sonnet live and give immortality to you and your beauty. So, this is the paraphrase of the poem. So, let me tell you the summary of the poem in Nepali. यो कविता विलियम शेक्सपियरको तिमीलाई ग्रीष्मका दिनहरूसँग तुलना गरौँ, फेरि यो जाडो मुलुकमा मनपर्ने ग्रीष्म त्यो एकदम छोटो समयसम्म त्यहाँ रहन्छ र त्यो समय उनीहरूलाई धेरै प्रिय हुन्छ। ती दिनहरूसँग कविले आफ्नो प्रेयसीलाई तुलना गर्नको लागि चाहिँ यहाँ एउटा पात्रलाई चाहिँ खडा गरेका छन्। उनले के भन्छ भने, म तिमीलाई गर्मीको दिनसँग तुलना गरौँ कि? तिमी त यस्तो दिनभन्दा पनि सुन्दर र शीतल छौ। यो मे महिनाको गर्मीमा फुल्ने गुलाबको आकर्षक प्रिय कोपिलालाई आँधी बेरीले हल्लाउँछ, कमजोर पार्छ, तहस नहस पार्छ र कमजोर भइसकेपछि फेरि सुखी, सक्रिय र सफल बनाउने गर्मीका दिनको क्षमता ज्यादै थोरै अवधिको हुन्छ। यो धेरै छोटो हुन्छ, तर यो हामीलाई साह्रै मनपर्छ। बेला मौकामा आकाशका आँखा अथवा सूर्यको राप गर्मीमा ज्यादै पोल्ने हुन्छ र बेला मौकामा सूर्यको सुनौलो किरणमा त्यस्तो न्यानो पार्ने शक्ति अति जाडोमा एकदम कम हुन्छ। जाडोमा धेरै चाहिँ त्यो सूर्यको तेज कम हुन्छ र त्यहाँ बढी जाडो हुन्छ र प्रत्येक सुन्दर चिजबाट सुन्दरता घट्छ। जति सुन्दर छु भन्नेहरू र जति सुन्दर छ भन्ने चिजहरू छन् तिनको सुन्दरता त्यहाँ घटिरहेको हुन्छ। नचाहँदै पनि संयोगले अर्थात् प्रकृतिको बदलिँदो क्रमले त्यो सौन्दर्य नष्ट हुन्छ। तर तिम्रो सदाबहार ग्रीष्म, तिम्रो सदाबहार रूप, तिम्रो सदाबहार वंश, तिम्रो सदाबहार यौवन कहिले हराउने छैन। न त तिम्रो सुन्दरता नै हराउने छ, न मृत्युको अन्धकार राज्यमा तिमी हिँडे पनि मृत्युले नै यसलाई खाइदिए भनेर फुर्ती गर्न सक्नेछ। तिमी त मेरो सदाबहार कविताका यी पंक्तिहरूमा जीवित रहनेछौ। मेरा यी कविताका पंक्तिहरू पनि जीवित रहनेछन्। तिनै पंक्तिहरूसँग तिमी पनि जीवित रहनेछौ। मेरो कविताले नै तिमीलाई, तिम्रो वंशलाई, तिम्रो रूपलाई, तिम्रो यौवनलाई सदाबहार राखिरहनेछ। यो नै हो कविताको सारांश नेपालीमा। जस यहाँ चाहिँ एउटा पात्र छ, उसले चाहिँ आफ्नो प्रेयसीलाई चाहिँ धेरै मन पराउँछ। उसले चाहिँ प्रेयसीको त्यो यौवनलाई चाहिँ त्यो खुइलिएको ओइलिएको उसलाई देख्न चाहँदैन। त्यही भएर उसले चाहिँ कविताका हरफमा उसको बैंसलाई चाहिँ समावेश गरेर अनि यो एउटा कविले के पनि सोचेका छन् भने अरू जेसुकै सकिएछन् भने पनि कृतिहरू चाहिँ अझ अमर रहिरहनेछन्, म मरेछु भने पनि मेरा काव्य कृतिहरू पछिसम्म रहिरहनेछन्, छलफलको विषय बन्नेछन्, चर्चाको विषय बन्नेछन्। यिनीहरूमा यिनै काव्यका कृतिहरूमा मैले व्याख्या गरेका सुन्दरीहरू ती चाहिँ तिनीहरूको सुन्दरताहरू चाहिँ त्यहीँ रहनेछन् र पछिको पुस्ताले व्यापक यिनको चर्चा परिचर्चा गर्नेछन् र तिनैमा चाहिँ संसार देख्नेछन् भनेर कविले यस्तो खालको चाहिँ व्याख्या गरेका छन्। लेट्स टक अबाउट द समरी अफ द पोएम हियर। Summary. Here, the speaker opens the poem with a question, that is a rhetorical question here, addressed to the beloved. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? The next 11 lines are devoted to such a comparison. In line 2, the speaker stipulates what mainly differentiates the young man from the summer's day. He is more lovely and more temperate. Summer days tend toward extremes. They are shaken by rough winds. In them the sun, the eye of heaven, often shines to hot or to dim, and summer is fleeting. Its date is too short, and it leads to the withering of autumn, as every fear from fear sometimes declines. The final quatrain of the sonnet tells how the beloved differs from the summer in that respect. His beauty will last forever. Thy eternal summer shall not fade and never die. In the couplet, the speaker explains how the beloved's beauty will accomplish this feat and not perish, because it is preserved in the poem, which will last forever. It will live as long as men can breathe or eyes can see. So this is the immortality of literature and the poet's contribution in it. Okay, let's have line by line interpretation of explanation of the poem. Here you see the first stanza in this slide here. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling birds of May, and summer's lace hath all to short a date. So in the first line we can find a rhetorical question that creates an immediate emotional involvement. And in the second line we find a comparison between the beloved and a summer's day. At the end he says that the lover is more lovely and more temperate. The rest two lines we have opposition between words belonging to the semantic field, that is, semantic is related to meaning aspect of the text or any discourse, meaning semantic field of summer and words that relate to the decline. And in the second quatrain, the quatrain consists of 4 lines here. Sometimes to her the eye of heaven shines, and often is his good complexion dimmed, and every fear from fear sometimes declines, by chance or nature's changing course untrimmed. So the first line here in the stanza, there is a metaphor, and it's a figurative device or literary device which does not compare two things using the comparison words like or as. So here the direct comparison of the two things are made or is made here, and that is metaphor. And here the eye of heaven is a metaphor, and this relates to the sun. And in the second line of this stanza we have a reference with the Elizabethan age. That was very productive period in the history of English literature, and the productive period in terms of poetry, in terms of drama, and in terms of other literary genres, and the involvement of different writers in different creative activities, creativity. Even Queen Elizabeth had a good patronship, and she led the way. She created the room for different writers and different literary figures to bloom. And the last 2 lines here, and every fear from fear sometimes declines, and time is very powerful, and time can change everything, and we cannot prevent time for not doing anything. And in the verse we have verse line number 7 or verse 7, we have a reference, a reflection on the destructive power of time. This is the power of time, and its that indefeatable power that has been included, or that has been highlighted in this line here, in the verse number 7. Its third quatrain here. Third quatrain, but thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fear thou owest. Nor shall death break thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou grow rest. So in this verse here, in this stanza, but thy eternal summer shall not fade. So the speaker is ensuring his beloved that the beauty of his beloved will not be the subject of time, subject of change by the power of time. So the beauty of his beloved will remain forever. But how? That's the question. She will not lose the possession of that fear, that fairness, that beauty. And even the death shall not have dominion over the beauty of his beloved. Then why and how? Because in the eternal lines to time thou growest. So these lines, very eternal lines, these lines will last forever. So these are immortal lines. In these immortal lines of poetry, in these immortal lines of sonnet, the beauty has been described, the beauty has been captured, and that beauty will not fade. So in this verse, in the verse 10, 11 and 12, the speaker says that thanks to the poem, the beauty of the beloved will be preserved forever. The final couplet, 2 lines, and in this sonnet we have 3 quatrains and 2 couplets. So these last 2 lines here read like this: so long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this and this gives life to thee. So these are lines which William Shakespeare claims to be eternal lines, and they also relate to the eternity of literary works and eternity of the poet in the form of these words. So it emphasizes, there is a long emphasis on the duration of the time. The verse summarizes the sense of all poetry. So this is the summary of all poetry here in this couplet. And let's see structural analysis of the poem. As I already told you here, this is a sonnet. Title itself is sonnet number 8. The first line reads, shall I compare thee to a summer's day. This sonnet is divided into 4 distinct parts. It starts off with 3 quatrains and ends with a rhyming couplet. And we have 3 quatrains. The first quatrain, the poet praises his beloved who is more lovely than a summer's day. Even early summer is marked by strong winds which can ruin the birds. Beloved's beauty is compared to a summer's day. The beloved is better than a summer's day because the beloved is more lovely and temperate. In lines 3 and 4, Shakespeare compares how summer eventually ends, but his love her and her beauty never will. In quatrain 2, in the next quatrain, the poet says that the summer can be too hot or cloudy, and says that beauty will fade as nature changes. Beauty grow old, but the poet's lines would not. Shakespeare compares the ever-changing seasons with his lover's unchanging beauty in lines 5 to 8. In the third quatrain, the poet says his lover will not change, but actually become an eternal summer after being earlier, compared to changeable summer. The lover will not lose his beauty and will not die. Shakespeare says his lover's beauty will never fade. His lover or her is eternal. Okay. So, and the concluding couplet, lines 13 and 14. In the concluding 2 lines of the sonnet, William Shakespeare sums up the poem, stating his love will live forever as long as this poem exists. In the final rhyming couplet, the poet says that as long as people live, his poetry will live on and ensure the immortality and life of his lover. Sonnet 18 is a Shakespearean sonnet, typical Shakespearean sonnet. Among 154 sonnets, this is one of the remarkable sonnets that has been canonized in different literary works, and that has been taught in different levels of university and school levels. So, how Shakespeare immortalizes love, and how Shakespeare immortalizes literary works, and we discuss in different classes in different areas of our studies. Here it starts up with 3 quatrains and ends with a rhyming couplet. The rhyme scheme is AB AB, CD CD, EF EF, GG. Each quatrain offers different examples of or statements on a theme. The final couplet contains the conclusion of the poem. And let us see the notes. So, while studying these different literary texts, we feel difficulties in understanding, because the use of literary words, archaic words, and the symbols and metaphors, and these notes will help you to understand what the poet is trying to say, and how we can get the points within these lines, within the lines that the poet has used. Okay, it's time for me to discuss the theme of the poem. Theme. An important theme of the sonnet is the power of the speaker's poem to defy time and last forever, carrying the beauty of the beloved's down to future generations. The beloved's eternal summer and the youth and vigor shall not fade, precisely because it is embodied in the sonnet. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, the speaker writes in the couplet, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. It deals with the theme of poetic immortality and love, both of which defy time. Shakespeare states that his beloved personifies humanity. Like all human beings, his beloved is threatened by time. The poet is, however, sure that his love will remain as immortal as the poem in which he has expressed it. The theme of the poem is eternal love. It is clear. Shakespeare compares his lover to summer, the most beautiful season of the year in England here, especially in our context. Spring is not spring is the season which is most favorite season, and we favor autumn later. But here in England, summer is such a season which is most beautiful season. It is very short lived. However, summer's beauty cannot exist all year long, but his love for her and her beauty will always exist in the lines of his sonnet. Overall, the themes of Shakespeare's poem can be presented as under: the stability or immortality of love and beauty, the perfection of the beloved, how poetry or literature can immortalize beauty in the lines of this composition, time that can change anything, but not the lover's beauty, which is enraptured in the poem of sonnet or the literary piece. Man and the natural world. So the poet talks about man and natural world here also. Symbolism in the form, how the poet uses the things that will stand for another. A summer's day is a symbol for the poet's love for his lover and her eternal beauty. Most people think summer is the most beautiful season in the year, since it is always so sunny and bright. This is the same perspective as Shakespeare's, only better. During summer, winds blow the birds up of the flowers, destroying their beauty. However, her beauty is eternal. Nothing in the world can damage her beauty. Seasons cycle during the year. Summer will not stay forever, but no matter what happens, her beauty will always exist as she lives on in. And here is the review of sonnet number 18. In sonnet number 18, the speaker asks whether he should compare the young man to a summer's day, but notes that the young man has qualities that surpass a summer's day. He also notes that the qualities of summer day are subject to change and will eventually diminish. The speaker then states that the young man will live forever in the lines of the poem as long as it can be read. There is an irony being expressed in the sonnet. It is not the actual young man who will be eternalized, but the description of him contained in the poem. And the poem contains scant or no description of the young man, but instead contains vivid and lasting descriptions of summer day, which the young man is supposed to outlive. So, this is all the discussion of today's poem, today's text. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day by William Shakespeare. Here I am sure you got the points with my discussion, and if you have any queries, please put your comments in my comment box, and I am sure you will not forget to subscribe, like and share this video. Thank you very much. Have a nice time.